There's a lot of things that we're told and we thought as a child that once we grow up, we realize are obviously not true. Like swallowing a watermelon seed grows a melon in your stomach, gum stays in your stomach for 7 years, and being an adult would be awesome. But once we grow up and our brain actually develops, it's obvious that these things are false. But along with these, there's a lot of animal facts that you may have just accepted without really giving a second thought. So today, I want to go over some common animal myths that you probably still believe. If you've ever heard this one, it was probably from the phrase blind as a bat, which means having poor eyesight. But this phrase doesn't describe bats all too well. While some species of bats do have poor eyesight, some have great eyesight, but none are completely blind. This myth originated from the fact that bats hunt at night and use echolocation to get around. People hear about this and they assume it's their only way of navigation. But the truth is, echolocation is not their only way of getting around. It's just a tool that they use when it's dark out. Some bats, like fruit bats, barely ever use any echolocation. Instead, they rely on their eyes, just like most animals. If bats were completely blind, they'd probably be flying in the trees a lot. On the topic of vision, this is another common misconception that is mostly incorrect. While it's true dogs do see color different than us, many people hear that dogs are colorblind and they assume that they see in black and white. But this is not the case. Dogs are able to see colors, just not as much as we can. Dogs have dichromatic vision, meaning they have two types of color receptors in their eyes. They primarily see the colors blue and yellow, hence the colors of that bluey show that everyone is obsessed with. Yes, the Camel backpack brand is built on a lie. Camels are not actually just carrying around gallons of water at a time. Those humps are instead for fat reserves. These fat reserves are for when food gets hard to find, because when you're living in the desert, you can't just DoorDash your third meal of the night. All you got is grass, leaves, and cacti, which, if you've ever seen a desert, isn't very abundant. But the reason camels are able to survive this harsh environment and go so long without food is these reserves of fat. It's their savings account for energy. Can't find any food? Just absorb a chunk of fat you've been carrying around, which isn't actually a unique thing. Us humans store fat for when food gets low too. I'm sure at some point as a child, you found a toad in the ground, decided to pick it up and show it to your mom, and she probably screamed at you saying it would give you warts. But this isn't the case. Warts in humans are caused by the human papillomavirus virus, or HPV. Now, I want you to notice the first part of that name, human, not toad. So in case you didn't put it together, toads aren't even able to carry the virus that gives you warts. This myth just came from the fact that toads have a bunch of bumps on them that look like warts, so people see that and think if you touch it, it's going to transmit it to you, which is not possible. This is a common misunderstanding that you probably still hear today. Tardigrades, or water bears, are some sort of super-like being that are impossible to kill. So what this myth is referring to is a thing tardigrades can do called cryptobiosis. And this is when they're able to reduce their metabolism, water content, really all activity, and just kind of freeze into this little crunched up ball. It's true that while they're in this phase, they can survive extreme heat and extreme cold, but they have to be in this state to actually do that. If they're just in their regular active state, they're dead, which is an issue because this state is a response to very specific environmental stressors. And this state isn't regularly entered at all, only when conditions are right. Most of their time is spent in an active state moving around and feeding. I remember I had a friend who studied tardigrades in college, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Those things are invincible. And he said, what? No, I accidentally kill these things all the time. Oh. So hopefully you learned something today, and now you know not to trust everything you hear. And if you already knew all of these things and you're currently rushing to the comment section to let me know how smart and amazing you are, good for you. But if you enjoyed, let me know by liking and subscribing. Thank you. Bye.